And let's start the event. Can I call our chairman, Willy, to give us a few words? And we can proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Badurintege. Greetings, everyone. Namaste. Habali. My name is Willy Mutenza. Right Honourable Kadaga, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament of Uganda. Right Honourable Kadaga, who is joining us soon. The Councillor Ramji Mayor, the Mayor, London Borough of Harrow. All protocols observed. As I said, my name is Willy Mutenza. I'm a proud Ugandan. I've been living here for over 30 years. You are welcome, Honourable Betty Among, our Minister of Labour. Right Honourable Kadaga, the first Prime Minister of Uganda. As I said, we started this initiative. I just want to give, I know this business summit, but I just give a brief background of this event. We started this event about 14 years ago. I'm very happy that, and I'm honored that the people that started this initiative are all here. This initiative was started with me and Right Honourable Kadaga here. So we are the people who started this idea, and we've been pushing it and growing stronger and stronger. So for me, I don't have a presentation, but I just want to assure you, I'm also a businessman, and I'm also investing in my country, Uganda. Those who are looking at investment in Uganda, please, Uganda is now the right place to be. You can never get any return on investment anywhere besides Uganda. But most importantly, the people who are here, we have almost some of the most important people that you would want to meet when you go to invest in Uganda. And please go through the brochure, and we would love to have as much networking as possible. And we want to, by the end of today, to have signed some deals. You are welcome, and I wish you a prosperous day. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here in the UK, and we have our honourable representation here from the High Commission, and I have the honour to introduce Her Excellency Nimisha Madhvani, Ugandan High Commissioner to the UK and Northern Ireland. With a round of applause, please let's welcome her.
Jambo, namaste, habari, welcome. Lovely to have you all here. Lovely for me to be here for the first time as High Commissioner to this excellent event, though I have been with Mr. Mutenza in the past, as that's what we want to focus on, investment and trade. Lord Mayor, Right Honourable Thomas Tayebwa, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament of the Republic of Uganda, Right Honourable Rebecca Kadaga, First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Affairs, and my sister, an elder sister and counsel from Busoga, Kamuli, here she is, and I think she's just become a mother-in-law to the Chabazinga, so congratulations, Honourable. Honourable Dennis Hamson Abua, our Government Chief Whip, Honourable Betty Among, our Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development, honourable members of Parliament. We also have with us our Director of Immigration and Citizenship, Major General Kasita Goa, and the head of our Uganda Revenue Authority, Mr. John Muzinguzi. So all of you who keep coming to the mission and complaining about tax issues, please find him. He's right here in your doorstep. And Madam Anne Mogisha Mohaiwe from IGG's office. And King Caesar, who is right here, he's our consul for Uganda, for Vietnam. If you could please stand so people know who you are. He's a pure businessman. And Lord Mayor was the first Ugandan Asian to become a mayor in the United Kingdom. So Lord Mayor Ramji. It is my very great pleasure to welcome you all to the 13th Uganda-UK Trade and Investment Summit, which is held annually. I take this opportunity to thank Mr. Willy Mutenza and his team for organizing these incredible annual events, which bring together such distinguished business participants from the governments of Uganda, the UK, as well as the business fraternities. Please, please, let us all give him a huge round of applause. He is really dedicated. Trade between Uganda and the United Kingdom is increasing in the 4 months to end in Q1 2023. Total UK imports from Uganda were £98 million. This represents an increase of 40% of the same period in the prior. This is good news. Over the same period, the UK increased their exports to Uganda to £447 million, an increase of 84%. Is that good news for Uganda? I'm not so certain that is. There is a big trade gap and an imbalance. We want the trade between our two countries to increase, and to increase both ways. That is healthy. But it is not optimal that our trade deficit is so large and growing. But what is very, very good news is that the UK's new trade policy that effectively and competitively opens up the United Kingdom to Uganda in a way we have been asking for years. It clearly evidences that Britain sees its future now outside of Europe. It is an unambiguous statement of where it wants to see trade flows increase. It does through open up UK to other countries in Africa. We need to be serious about our ambitions. We need to compete more effectively. It is time for more than fine words. His Excellency the President, President Museveni, and our government knows that Uganda has to increase its exports. They have set ambitious targets. The government is clear. Ugandan business needs to step up to the plate. The world is not becoming any less competitive, far from it. Ugandan businesses and government, we should all work together to ensure that Uganda is not left behind. Uganda businesses are keen to export. We must add value to our products. The government knows that. But we also know that exporting into the markets like the UK is not easy. But this new trade law will assist. So this is what we are going to do as government. The government is currently in the process of ensuring that the necessary capability and capacity is available in Uganda for our companies to get the right certification to qualify for exporting to the UK. But businesses have to engage and become certified. That will cost some business money, but it should be seen as an investment long term. The government is investing to ensure that the right phytosanitary and irradiation capabilities and capacity is available in Uganda. In this investment, we are being supported by the British government and are grateful for this support. If we don't do this, exporters of fresh produce will have to pay for these essential services at the airheads in Kenya or Amsterdam. This is not cheap and impacts on the economics of our exports. You will all be aware that there are currently no direct flights between UK and Uganda. The government has realized this, and this is why President Museveni is trying hard that we get Uganda Airlines to fly directly from Entebbe to London and London to Entebbe, London and then Entebbe to Boston and Boston to Entebbe. Work is underway to address this urgently. The government of Uganda is clear that it is time to face facts and to no longer hide behind the platitudes. In short, it is time for our action, and our President Museveni and his government have put in place a program to ensure that Ugandan businesses, men and women, can at long last punch their weight in the world's market. The Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement adds to this opportunity. But it takes two to tango, as the old saying goes. We need businessmen and women to join with us and make this world work, and to fully leverage in the export opportunities that will come from government's new realism in public policy and investment support for exports. So we look forward to welcoming all of you to Uganda who were there and need to come back. It is heaven on earth. The weather is beautiful, no humidity, you don't have to wear coats, you don't have to run around in the freeze, you don't have to have heaters, you can just enjoy Uganda the way it is. The mission now, Uganda High Commission in London, we now issue visas within 2 or 3 working days once your application process is done online. And Major General Kasita Goa is right here, and he can verify what I say to you. And they're very, very, very efficient. So Karibu Uganda, welcome, thank you everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the London Borough of Harrow, we have the Lord Mayor in our midst, and he is going to give us a few remarks. Let's welcome Councillor Ramji Chauhan.
Thank you very much. Namaste, morning everybody, and it's a great pleasure to be here to stand in front of you for the first time as the Mayor of the London Borough of Harrow, the first Ugandan, I should say born, who came here in 1970 as a young boy, and now I stand here as a mayor, as an immigrant. My name is Councillor Ramji Chauhan. I was born in Kampala, Uganda, in October 1964. In the 1970s, when then the leader of the country was seeking to remove Asians from the country, I was evacuated with my father, mother, 2 brothers, 2 sisters to Britain, where we were welcomed. I stand here as a Ugandan refugee survivor, who in the 1970s, when then the leader of the country was seeking, I was sent to the UK, and not just that, our late Queen Elizabeth II, and now the King Charles III, reigns this country. I was elected, or shall I say, I was educated in a normal state school and went to college. I'm a Hindu, married, and have 2 sons. I was elected in 2010 as a councillor for the London Borough of Harrow, in the Harrow Weald Ward, which is the north side of Harrow. Being a councillor for the London Borough of Harrow, in which capacity I have already been for 14 years. I take a close interest in the ward and represent which a large area of green belt and common land at the north part. I have been a parent governor for the school of HN High School and Glebe Primary School in Harrow since 2006 to 2021. I sit on various bodies listening to discussions within the council, especially the overview and scrutiny, for several years. I have always been keen on maintaining the traditions of which this country has many worth ones. I have been attracted to the City of London, especially, and have met others who have the same values and quality of standards displayed here. I received the freedom of the City of London in 2018, and then joined a livery company, the worshipful company of the gold, silver, wire drawers. Hence my interest in becoming a freeman and a liveryman. My role as a councillor takes up most of my time, going to various committees and representing outside bodies as well. Also council meetings. Councillors always have to deal with issues, concerns raised by residents, and seek an appropriate action from the council. I am honoured that I am the Mayor of the London Borough of Harrow, representing the King as a Ugandan. For this country, a survivor, a person who has given life and services to the community and to others to ensure that everyone lives and works in harmony for the goodness of humanity. I would like to say thank you, conference, for inviting me to be here to say a few words on my life in the society and all Ugandans we can do and what we can provide the world is trade and exchange businesses. Thank you, conference.
I would like to welcome our Deputy Speaker, Honourable Taiwo, to come and give us a few words.
Thank you. The Right Honourable Rebecca Kadaga, First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Affairs, and the founder member of this very important platform. The Government Chief Whip, the Honourable Amson Obua, the Honourable Minister Betty Amongi, my sister Minister for Gender, the Mayor, Your Excellency, the High Commissioner, fellow participants. Mine is just very simple. Number one, to thank you for inviting me. Number two, to inform you that our attendance as a high-level delegation from the government of Uganda is a testament to the good work done by Willy and the group and the High Commission in organizing such a very important event in the calendar of our country. But it is also to show you that we take things very seriously on our side, and we are committed as a government to open the potential of our country. A country of 45 million people estimated, a country that fits within a market of an estimated 300 million people, African community, and over 400 million people in the COMESA, and of course a country that does fit in an arrangement where by 2050 we estimate that more than a quarter of the world population will be in Africa. So if you are ignoring Africa, if you are ignoring East Africa, if you're ignoring Uganda, then you're ignoring your business and the potential for your business to grow. And that's a testimony we want to give. A continent of the young, because the future is in Africa. I don't think I have invested, I've done much, but I don't think you can get the return on investment you can get in Africa, especially with the world going the way it is going. A country that has built a very resilient economy, an economy which the British handed over to us and was depending on only six items. That is 3 C's, coffee, cotton, and copper, and the 3 T's, tea, tourism, and tobacco. Yeah, you can see my people are getting it right. But COVID came, we closed all borders, there was no movement, but nothing stopped going on in our country. That's what we call resilience. That's what we call having a country that is very stable. In fact, during COVID, is when the economy on most aspects was booming. That's when construction was going on, manufacturing was going on, yet all borders were closed, meaning the government has done a tremendous job. My brother, the mayor, we are a country now for which you are sure that if you put in your investment, it's guaranteed. Everything that was taken away from Asians during those dark days was returned back to them. An Asian who never came back to claim their property cannot blame any other person but themselves. The president took it upon himself to inform the international community. If you know that anyone took your property, please come and claim it back. It's yours, just bring proof. That's the kind of stability we are talking about. Where you invest in your business and you are extremely sure that your business is secure and is guaranteed by government. A country where stability has been put at the forefront. Within 24 years, between 1962 and 1986, when there was a change of government, during those dark days, because we are known as a country of Idi Amin through many quarters. But we've gone beyond that. During those 24 years, we had 9 changes of government and none was peaceful. And we had several coups. But now, we are a country that is guaranteeing peace on the African continent. We are the country that is hosting refugees from other countries. We are Africa's #1 refugee hosting country. You can only host refugees if you are stable. Otherwise, your own people will be running away to be refugees. We know the price we paid as refugees. I didn't live through those dark days. I was not yet born at that time, but I'm sure Mama Rebecca and some of our Asian brothers and sisters, they know the difficult days. Some of us, the young generation, we are doing whatever we can under the guidance of our senior leaders, ensure that we guarantee the peace, the hard-earned peace we've managed to secure as a country. We don't want to go back to those dark days. And that's why, even if you hear a few advisories, I've seen a few advisories from this, security everywhere. Yes, they are there. Reason being, we are guaranteeing peace in other parts of the continent. We are trying to pacify Somalia. We are trying to ensure that DRC is very stable. And that comes at a cost. If you go to fight terrorists in Somalia, the terrorists who would be coming to hit the UK, the breeding ground of terrorists who would be coming to hit the West, we have said as Uganda, a very stable and secure nation, we shall go to the breeding ground and destroy it, so that the whole world can be secure. That means we have the capacity and stability. You can hear about a few cases, allied democratic forces and all that, a few cases of insecurity. They are there because we have now gone back to where they are being produced, in the DRC. And working with the DRC government, we are ensuring that we have a much more stable country. We are a country that has secured the energy. We are around over 90% renewable energy, very, very reliable. We have extra power. We are even exporting to our neighbors. When other countries are struggling or you want to set up a factory in Uganda, we have excess energy. You'll find it, and it's affordable. We have put in place the infrastructure, and with the support of the UK government, we are even doing more and other partners in the world. We've created a market. We ensure that now our major focus is on import substitution, so that after we go for exports. So it's a much bigger market. If you produce in Uganda, you sell anywhere in the East African community duty-free. But it's also a gateway to the rest of the continent, especially if you're preparing to benefit from the AfCFTA, which we believe is going to transform the African continent. So on ease of doing business, we have consolidated all services, and I'm glad I have seen many of the partners, many of the ministers here. They will interact with you and show you the different incentives, both non-tax and tax incentives. I'm seeing the head of Uganda Revenue Authorities here, so we shall be able to discuss more when it comes to that. On the reduced cost of doing business, that has been our major focus now as a government. And how do you do that? Ensure you have efficient, reliable, and cheap electricity. Ensure you have cheap and reliable internet. Ensure you have the infrastructure. When you read someone says, no, Uganda is a landlocked country. We are not landlocked. We are land-linked country. We have linked with the rest of the continent. So we are not locked anywhere. So come link with us, and the moment you reach in Uganda, you'll have gotten a link to East Africa. We have ensured, indeed, we have developed enough human resource. I don't think you need to bring any expatriate to run your business in Uganda. We have qualified people. We have invested in our people. And now we are focusing on investing more and more in our people to increase their purchasing power. Fighting poverty is our major strategy. And I'm sure when you come and you join us, you work with the government of Uganda, and your investments grow, then you'll be contributing to the development of humanity and development of your business. I want to thank you.
So we want the investors to know that Uganda is comfortable. Uganda is a good place to do business, and we have brought the people to make sure we comfort that. But also, if you've been following Uganda, you've noticed that over the last 2 years, His Excellency does not go anywhere without a business community. So as a private sector community, we've managed to make that connection with government that there is absolutely no presidential trip anywhere without a private sector contingent. So that's how much effort the country is putting into making sure that we create a business community. So this morning, and I'm also going to tell you 2 interesting stories that as a businessman in Uganda, I have actually gone through. And having left the UK in 2000 to go back home, I can tell you that it is the right place to do business. So we want the investors to know that Uganda is comfortable. Uganda is a good place to do business, and we have brought the people to make sure we comfort that. But also, if you've been following Uganda, you've noticed that over the last 2 years, His Excellency does not go anywhere without a business community. So as a private sector community, we've managed to make that connection with government that there is absolutely no presidential trip anywhere without a private sector contingent. So that's how much effort the country is putting into making sure that we create a business community. So this morning, and I'm also going to tell you 2 interesting stories that as a businessman in Uganda, I have actually gone through. And having left the UK in 2000 to go back home, I can tell you that it is the right place to do business. So I'd like to invite Madam Kadaga, please, to join us here, or would you rather stay where you are? Okay. I'd like to invite Honourable Betty. John, so Commissioner General, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ntege. My name, I think the time of introduction may be too brief, but let me acknowledge my leaders, the Right Honourable Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Your Excellencies, the Ambassadors, the Lord Mayor, Your Worship, the Mayor, Honourable Ministers, leaders of the captains of industry, leaders of the different agencies of government, all the investors, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Msinguzi, and I serve as the Commissioner General of the Uganda Revenue Authority, the tax administration body.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker, our High Commissioner, our host, the Mayor, members of the Cabinet. This is Zakayo here. And the audience gathered here. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning. My name is Nimisha Madhvani. And my work is majorly to ensure that the treaty for this African community is actualized. And this is, I'm in charge of a grouping of 7 countries, Burundi, the DRC, Kenya, Rwanda, the Republic of Tanzania, South Sudan, and Uganda. So I have already informed you about the composition of the East African community. But being a Ugandan, I think I'll start by reminding you that Uganda is the pearl of Africa. It's the land of the source of the Nile, the land of the Rift Valley, the land of the Uganda Matters, the best national parks, and everything you can think of. So that is Uganda. Of course, there are more attractions in the region. Now, as I was saying, we have been able to do some work on the common market. We are trying very hard to ensure that our human resources are able to work and live in each of these countries. we still have challenges, especially on the professional level. It will not be very easy for one to go and practice in one of the other countries, but that's the area we're trying to work on to ensure that our people are able to go and work and live in the other countries. We are also working hard on the infrastructure, the common infrastructure. We have done quite a bit of the roads that link our countries. On the southern corridor, we still have a challenge on the Kyotera, Masaka, Mutukula, Chaka road, which takes us to Tanzania and Burundi. But we've done a very good work in creating a bypass between Tanzania and Kenya, where you can travel from Arusha, Kolili, Voi, Taveta to Mombasa. That's only 400 miles. But if you take the ordinary route from Arusha, Namanga, Nairobi to Mombasa, you drive almost 700 kilometers. So we've been able to cut that distance by creating a bypass. On the Uganda side, we have also created another bypass about to be completed from Kapchora to Swam, Italy to Eldoret. It also shortened the distance between Uganda and the capital of Nairobi and the other cities. So we're also working throughout the region to improve on the infrastructure. On power, we have used the transboundary resources to generate power for our region. The Kagera has been very, very instrumental in this transboundary resource. We have the Kikagati Morongo hydropower project, generating 14 megawatts, shared equally between Tanzania and Uganda, 7 each. Then on the Tanzania side, we have the Rusumo hydropower project, still on the Kagera, which Rwanda and Tanzania are also generating electricity, also sharing. So we are working together to use the transboundary resources.
The first strategic sector is education, manufacturing, transportation, tourism, construction, healthcare and medical services, agriculture, ICT, logistics and warehousing. For these strategic sectors, there are different tax exemptions that the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament and the Parliament legislated and put into law. So it is guaranteed by law. As a tax collector, we really want to maximize revenue collection, and even if we wish to tax in these areas, the law prohibits us. So, and different exemptions are given in the Income Tax Act, in the Value Added Tax Act, on stamp duties, and excise duties, and then in the import duties. Now for the customs duties, the exemptions are not just for Uganda, but they are for the East African region. So what my leaders have alluded to, the right of the Prime Minister and the Right Honourable Deputy Speaker, as if they were produced in those very countries. Now, the next area where the exemptions and incentives are now in the particular tax heads. And why I want to speak about certain tax heads, I know they are of interest to the Ugandan community here in the UK, but also to the investors from the UK who want to invest in Uganda. One such area where we have generous exemptions is in the rental income. This is rental tax paid on income laid out of renting business or residential premises. For this, if you are an individual, any income made below the threshold of 2.82 Uganda million shillings, there is no tax. but anything in excess of 2.8 Uganda shillings is taxable at a rate of 12%. So the effective tax rate is 12%. And for companies which declare and file returns, you are allowed expenses of up to 50%. So 50% of your income from rentals, 50% will be allowed on expenses. Of course, they are verifiable expenses. And then what remains, you pay 30% on the balance. So that is one of the areas. Now, I spoke about exemptions in VAT. This is mainly deeming of VAT. So for strategic areas, like development of industrial parks, VAT is exempted right from the stage of feasibility studies, designing, construction, and all the materials that you use in setting up the industrial park, the VAT is deemed. Of course, there are a few conditions here. If you're a foreign investor, it is assumed that for an industrial park, you will not invest less than $50 million. But better still, if you are a citizen or you're in partnership, a citizen in partnership with a foreign investor, then the threshold for investment reduces to only $300,000 US. And if you want to invest outside Kampala, in other words, to promote creation of jobs and industries outside the city, the investment threshold even goes down further to $150 US. And the other requirement is that you use raw materials. So as long as the raw materials are available, up to 70% should be locally sourced. And also in terms of labor and employment, you employ at least 70%. Now, if you fulfill these requirements, then you take advantage of 10-year, for VAT it is exemption on all inputs when you are developing. But the next level of incentive is a tax holiday, which is 10-year holiday from paying income tax. So whatever amounts you make from this industrial park, you will be exempted from income tax and VAT as well. There is a further exemption in stamp duty, again for this kind of investment in the industrial parks or free zones, and this one is nil payment on all debenture, lease land, share capital transfers, land transfers, whatever attracts stamp duty will be exempted as long as you're investing in these industry parks and free zones. The next exemption, of course, I've already mentioned, the hospitality industry has exemptions. There the thresholds are much less, only $5 million. And for hotels, only $8 million. And a room number of at least 100 rooms. Again, you'll be exempted from stamp duty, from VAT, and income tax as well. I've already mentioned the exemptions in the industrial parks. In the interest of time, I'll just move. Yeah, but there are further exemptions even in customs duties. So, and I've already mentioned that the East African exemption, the customs duties, the exemptions are under the East African law, not just the Ugandan law. So for people importing raw materials made for exports, there is duty drawback. What this means, as long as you're going to export 80% of the products that you produce, you will be reimbursed the money that you spend at the for manufacturing of textiles. If you're bringing in raw materials or intermediary products, there is zero remission of duty. Again, this is at the East African level. For manufacture of motor tires, if you're bringing raw products like stranded wires, zero tax, duty remission. Inputs for manufacturing cells and batteries, zero tax, and so on and so forth. I'll make reference shortly where you can read this in detail. Tourism as well has a number of exemptions. Vehicles for tourism, buses, land cruisers, whatever it is, as long as it's for that sector, zero duty at import. Boats as well for the tourism sector. A number of other inputs for the manufacturing sector are all zero rated. We'll read this one later. But for zero import duty, you can also defer VAT. In other words, no VAT is paid at point of importation, but when you have set up your factory and you've made the money, then you can pay. Other exemptions are in the oil and gas sector and many other areas. What am I saying in conclusion? The government of Uganda is very deliberate, and with the support of the East African community, they've made investment in the region very, very attractive. Lots of tax exemptions, lots of administrative support when you're an investor. One-stop point for registration of your business. You find there the tax people to register you for tax. You find there the URSB to register your company. You find there umeme people, connect you to power, and so on. This is under the investment authority. Now, for all this information and more that I've not mentioned, you can get it on our website. Just go there. On the main page, you'll see a bolded header of incentives for investors, and you read all these different sections of the law. They are also available on all other channels of communication, Twitter, WhatsApp, email, and so on and so forth. And I will be glad to share this for your own reference later on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There's something that came out in the last budget about microfinance loans being tax deductible. I'm excited about that. In terms of if you are running a business and you borrow from a microfinance institution, the interest is tax deductible.
That is very true. I heard this somewhere, but in rushing I didn't mention. There are a number of expenses that are allowed under the income tax. One of those is, of course, the cost of sales, all the operating costs, the depreciation allowances, the industrial building deductions, assessed losses. We know that when you are setting up, you can incur losses. We allow losses up to 7 years where you're not paying. And then, of course, the investment capital, which is what is referring to. As long as you're servicing these cost centers, they are allowable expenses under our income tax law. Thank you.
Thank you. And I wanted to say that because money is cheap here, and we want it over there, but usually we tend to expect money to come through the bigger banks. But what that tells us that money can now come through microfinance institutions, which are tier 4 institutions, which are not as heavily regulated as banks. So for those of you who might be wanting to look at the investment channel, there's another channel that is open that is actually have pretty high returns. Thank you, but we'll visit that later. Honourable Betty.
Thank you very much. I want to start by saying that for most of the investors, the economists will tell us that investment is informed by 4 key factors of production, which is land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. So, as investors, when you make a decision to go to Uganda, you will be looking for labor, for sure. And so, looking for labor, you'll have to end up with me. Because the law empowers me to even categorize what type of labor you can bring from out of the country as experts or expertise and categories of jobs that are only for Ugandans. So that's why it is very important that you understand our labor force. First, to let you know that Uganda is one of the most qualified labor force for investment in the country. I think Uganda labor force is the one that is driving East Africa. You find most of the Ugandans are working everywhere. We are externalizing labor now in most of the countries, in the Middle East, in the UK. We've been requested to externalize nurses and other caregivers in Germany and in Europe. And you know that most of the global structure of the economy now, especially in your developed world, because of the cost of labor, some of your factories and companies have to hire labor from outside to work for you. For instance, in the UK, most of the call centers are driven in India. So you're seated here, but those working for you are in India. Why? Because you want to avoid the cost of labor. So I'm here to assure you that in Uganda you will get abundant, cheap labor, labor that is innovative, labor that is most qualified, and labor that will drive your investment, and efficient labor. In the Mastercard studies, it's been confirmed that Uganda in the sub-Saharan Africa has one of the best English speakers in the world. Not just in the world. Everywhere you go, they will say, for Ugandans, we want them because they are very good English speakers. They are very efficient, they are very innovative. So we as a country will be able to support you in the labor, will be able to guide you in the context of the laws related to labor, what you require to get labor, the social security that you need to support the labor force. I'm glad the chairman of NSSF will speak much more here on our other arm of NSSF, which can also support you in the aspect of joint venture if you want to go into others and other products offered. But with the population we have, 70% of our population is between 0 to 35 years. This categorization of the population of Uganda are the population that will consume your product. That is why most of the companies that will go to invest in South Sudan, in DR Congo, in Rwanda, in Burundi, they will have an headquarter in Uganda because of the labor force that is that first of all has valuable contribution, efficient and qualified. So with the large working population age that we have, it increases the pool of labor that you will have. It will drive the economic growth of your investment and company. It will increase productivity. It will, for us as a country, support us in accumulating savings. Because once you have those that are employed, you support me in the saving of the country. Because our saving for the workforce environment is compulsory. Once saving is increased in a country, it drives economic growth. It drives the country into the middle income economy. And it will support for me the employment of the youth that I look after. We will bring you fresh ideas. The energy will foster innovation and entrepreneurship, will increase and have consumer demand for your investment and fuel high productivity for your investment. So for me today, I'm here to tell you that if you want opportunities in the value chain for your investment, the labor force, come to Uganda. The laws are very friendly, the human resources are there, and we'll be able to support you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Honorable is my minister for my local business because I run a recruitment business, but what she hasn't told you is within East Africa, our Employment Act is the most employer-friendly act. So, and that I have on record because I've experienced it in the entire region.
Thank you very much. I prepared a very brief presentation. If you have it, Willy, you could kindly display it, just a few slides. So to add on what my co-speakers have said, Uganda is a democratic country that has robust institutions with separation of powers. The Inspectorate of Government is one of those institutions that is in place to offer checks and balances of what has been said. When all has been said and is done, then we come in to ensure that it is done in strict adherence to the laws of the country or policies that are in place. I know that I was asked to talk about the ratings that have over the years been provided by Transparency International. Mine is to demystify that, to tell you, to give you, to paint a picture for you on what is actually on the ground. The Inspectorate of Government is an independent institution that is a creation of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. We have a number of laws that operationalize the constitutional provisions. This independence means that we are not subjected to any control or supervision of any institution or government body. Our work is independent. What do? We investigate any instances of corruption that have been reported. We cause investigation if we suspect or if through the whistleblowers that come to us indicate that there is reason for us to look into something, then we cause investigation. We arrest if you're a government official or work for government or not directly working for government, or you have any way that you are misusing public funds, then we can arrest you or cause your arrest, and we can also prosecute you in the courts of law. So there are laws that have been enacted for this, and we have the Inspectorate of Government Act that we work with, the Leadership Code Act. If you're a leader, if you're a government leader that has assets or income, or your liabilities are not commensurate to your norms, the Deputy Speaker is here in person and can attest to that. They have committees, oversight committees in Parliament that investigate issues of corruption that may arise. We have the police. I am not the police, but I equally have powers to even superintend over police, because policemen are public officers, so I look into what they're doing to ensure that it is in strict adherence to the rule of law. At other institutions, we work closely with other institutions and leaders that are here, but key to accountability institutions are what you hear is called the Public Procurement and Disposable of Assets Authority. It's an authority that deals with procurement in the country. We work with the Auditor General's office. Many times we have ordered for audits on organizations or institutions that we think that need to be investigated. Also, in addition, Uganda is a signatory to various international anti-corruption treaties. Key to that is the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, which outlines preventive measures, criminalization, and law enforcement. This has been domesticated in our laws. You may have heard the Dodd-Frank Act, United Nations Convention Against Corruption, where Uganda subscribes to this act, which is aimed at promoting transparency in the extractive industry. We have the African Union Conventions on Preventing and Combating Corruption, the East and Southern African Anti-Money Laundering Group, which helps to combat money laundering through coordination of other regional bodies that are in place. Let me now specifically tell you what the Inspectorate of Government does briefly. promote and foster strict adherence to the rule of law in the extra. Promote and foster strict law and principles of legislation. If you come to Uganda, systems are working. We have systems and policies in place. You don't have to to lead you to. If you go to the website, if you want to invest in Uganda, you will know that you have to get in touch with the Uganda Investment Authority and where guidelines are laid down on who you are supposed to contact. Sometimes we've had problems with people who try to use middlemen and they get problems, they get wrong people. Systems are functional, you just go to the particular office that is in charge or that where a service is required and it shall be offered. Also, key to our function is to eliminate and foster the elimination of corruption, abuse of authority and public office, to promote fair, efficient and good governance in public offices, as well as to supervise the enforcement of the leadership code. In Uganda we have a double mandate. Whereas we fight corruption, we are also the ombudsman of the country. The office I work for is the ombudsman of the country that creates relations between the public and the private sector. So if you're an investor coming to my country and you have a problem with any government official, then that's where we also come in. Also, I already elucidated on the investigative body or arm that we do. So we investigate any act that has been done by a government official, by a public official, any omission. Why, if you, for example, have requested for a license, but there are some delays that are not justifiable for you, then we come in to find out why there is that omission, advice, decision, or recommendation by any government official. So also, it's our role to stimulate or educate the public on what we do. Can I now just briefly talk about our strategy, because I see that you're looking at me and probably want me to stop at this point. But I will give you just a sneak peek of our strategy as the Inspectorate of Government and some of the interventions that we have done. As per our mandate that is constitutional, that I have already elucidated, this is also in our strategic plan that runs for a period of 5 years. Number one is to enhance prevention, detection, and elimination of corruption. How are we doing this? Spot checks. If you're an investor in Uganda and you set up your business, will appear at any one time to see if business is being conducted through the right channels, but also to have a picture of what exactly is happening. We go beyond the documentation that's just provided to ensure that our citizens are protected, but also that as an investor, there are no loopholes or roadblocks that you are encountering in getting to our offices. These are unannounced, we just appear. We conduct investigations in actions that have been reported, but also where we feel that we should come in, even if it has not been reported. To promote minimum standards of behavior and leaders' code of conduct. We have a lifestyle audit and guidelines have already been put in place. I explained this, that if you are a government official or if you are a leader in any capacity, but your lifestyle is suspicious, is not commensurate to what is known for you to earn, and that is one of the ways that we're using to combat and prevent corruption. So we follow through and conduct investigations. We register complaints and also collaboration with other agencies to ensure that our investors that are dealing directly with those institutions do not find any problem. And lastly, to increase stakeholder engagement for effective execution of the mandate. I have provided information on where you can find us. It's easy, I hope it will be displayed, but there are social media handles, the Inspectorate of Government. You can find us online, and we have a hotline that I also displayed where you can get information to us. The bottlenecks, one of the bottlenecks or the challenge that is caused by you investors yourself is bribery and extortion by purported agents and brokers appointed by investors. You appoint them yourselves because you don't want to go through the right channels and you find problems. Please use the right channels. There are offices or institutions that are established. So investors, you face demands whereby unscrupulous people ask for bribes or kickbacks from agents or brokers who purport to work for government officials during the process of obtaining licenses. That's a very key problem that we have encountered, or that the investors have reported to us, but we always encourage them to follow the right procedures. Avoid shortcuts and you will enjoy a conducive investment climate in Uganda. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that is very critical that the government has moved into digitizing most of the processes. So, and most of the information that has been shared is digital. But I wanted to bring in Honorable General Goa here, who is responsible for all our work permits. So, just give us a...
Thank you very much, Mr. Ntege. Good morning, everyone. Allow me to ride on the protocol that has already been adopted. Right Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, ma'am. Right, so the question will be, you, Mr. Immigration, in all this business environment, what is your support to this environment? Because the Right Honourable Deputy Prime Minister has already expressed the various opportunities that are available in country. You've been told about the tax rebates that are also available. You've been talked about, again, the labor requirements, and of course, there I also come in, and you've told how government is also has in place a corruption enterprise that looks into those areas related to corruption. So what does immigration do? How will I support the business community to do the business that you're required to do? One, for the Ugandans, of course, you want your passports to be able to travel. And this we profess to make available. All you have to do is go on our website, which is www.immigration.go.ug, to make your application for your passports. What we have done really is automated virtually all our processes for passport applications, for visa applications, work permit applications, citizenship, and certificates of residence. All our processes are automated. So you just have to go onto that website and you'll be served. Now, in particular to work permits, because I know this is really what you will need, more especially for those of you who intend to bring in workers from outside into Uganda to assist you in your operations. What are the various work permit classes that we have? Class B1, and as the Right Honourable Deputy Prime Minister has spoken about the need for manufacturing industries, agro-based industries. Here we're giving better promotions than the other than in the other sectors. So let's see, B1, this is work permits issued to persons or shareholders wishing to invest in agriculture and animal industries. And this goes for $2,500 US. But B2 is issued to persons or shareholders involved in agro-processing, and this goes for only $400. So that's a big climb down. Then you've got C1, issued to persons or shareholders involved in prospecting of minerals or mining, and this also goes for $2,500. But then you also have issued to C2, which is issued to shareholders of companies engaged in prospecting of minerals or mining of specific minerals, that is gold, copper, iron ore, that is silica, yes, phosphate, limestone, and marble. And this also goes for $400. And then you've got the D, issued to shareholders of companies engaged in general trade, which goes for $2,500. And then you have issued to shareholders of companies engaged in manufacturing, and this also goes for $400. And then you have the ordinary residents and the G3, also ordinary residents, that is also $400. And the G3 issued to expatriates with rare skills employed in agro-processing, manufacturing, and mining of selected minerals. This also goes for $400. So we decided that if you're going to attract investment, more especially in the manufacturing or agro-processing areas, you really need to come down with your prices. And this is what we have done. So for anybody who is interested in those particular areas, that is the price. But I also know that John is probably going to be looking into the other areas, because when you talked about the hotels, 100 rooms plus, you have some which are in the parks, and I know they are all, you know, freshly started, and a good number of them have only got about 30, 25 rooms. You may wish to think about those areas as well, as opposed to just the ones of 100 plus rooms. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I like it when we bring the public sector into private sector and they manage their time very well. Thank you so much. Now, as we conclude, for us to give a baseline for the investment conversation to continue, I think you have heard from all important key areas that you need to come into Uganda. And I want to go back to, if I don't have any questions, I think we've covered most of the areas. If does anybody have a burning issue that you might want to share with us? We don't? Perfect. So the panel has been perfect today. I'd like to go back to the panel and just ask them to... Sorry. There's one? Oh, great. Let me come to you. I hope the microphone can get there. Okay, so please introduce yourself and make the question brief.
My name is Sheila Nakiriza. I'm part of the school governor board, and we're always trying to see how we can help communities and families to prosper in our local communities. So I would like to ask that in regards to investing in Uganda and the laws that are made in favor for the employers, what are the laws that are there for the laborers? So like the wages, do we have ways to know what they should be earning for certain things and to ensure that employers are not abusive in their treatment of them?
Thank you. Any other question? Sorry.
Thank you very much. My name is Edwin Musime. I'm the Director General of Green Economy East Africa and Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs Uganda. My major question, both on behalf of the world interested in investing in Uganda and to those of us that are still with very strong vested interest in Uganda, the question is, I just read somewhere where they were telling us London on Saturday is going to be hotter than usual, which is going to be about 33. Question. In all the investment conversation we're having, where are the green growth protocols going to come from in terms of building a more sustainability economy that is driving towards a net zero economy? If, I don't know on the panel who would be able to articulate that well, because it's very, very important right now, is given the backdrop of the climate change that is happening. Yes, we want the investment, but where are the green growth protocols? Where are the regulations to have a proper sustainability-driven economy moving forward? Thank you.
Great. I will push that to the panel, but I will ensure by the course of the day we'll have an answer for that one. I just want to clarify back, that was minimum wage? Was that the issue that we were asking about, Bain? The labor right.
Okay. Is there like a national standard for the laborers' rights so that they know what it should be earning or what employers are expected on how to treat the employees and stuff like that, so that from an ethical and moral obligation, is there the type of regulations or rights?
Great. As I take it to my line minister, I will also just respond to that one, since my business is about employment. Is the question of minimum wage has always been open, and I think the Honourable Minister will touch on it. But the rights are quite well for employees. Let me start with the Honourable Minister to respond to that one.
Thank you. We have first of all, As a global economy, Uganda is a signatory to the International Labour Convention, which stipulates key tenets of employment rights and obligations for both the employer and the employee. That international convention, which we are a partner and a signatory to, cascades to the Employment Act 2006, the Employment Amendment Act 2023, which stipulates the aspect within which you are supposed to include in the contractual obligation when employing someone. And in most of the international companies, most of those who will want your product outside Uganda will want a certification that the workers' rights are being obeyed. So under our Department of Labor, we will support the companies, the investors, to understand the labor law, to understand what is contained minimum, I don't want to say minimum wage, because the minimum wage which we have is obsolete, about 1960 something. But in the Act, we have specification of what you need to provide. Provision of health care, which is mandatory, provision of wages, provision of insurance, and other provision, which within the international framework protects the rights of workers. The details, when you come, we will be able to give you, but to assure you that the rights of workers are fully covered under the Act. We have the policy, we have the guidelines, we have the regulation that will ensure that the minimum that a worker will receive will be able to cater for what the labor of a worker is worth. And the categorization of labor in terms of expertise, in terms of the category of workforce that the person will be engaged in. So please, we adhere to both the international labor laws and the Employment Act. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. Let me bring in just Latima here to talk about, we talked about insurance and medical insurance. The chief insurer is here.
Thank you, Badru. My name is Latima Mukasa. I am the board member of Private Sector Foundation and also the chairman of the Uganda Insurers Association. So medical insurance is it's in the private sector. It's the fastest growing, medical insurance right now in the private, in insurance is the fastest growing sector in insurance, which means the demand is there. But we're also fully aware that government is in the advanced stages of launching the National Health Insurance Scheme, which will involve the entire population of Uganda. I think there are some details which government is still working on who will pay for it, who pays how much, and so on. But it's good to know that it's in the final stages. So the workers will be protected. But apart from that, there are several private, international providers of medical insurance, like Prudential Insurance, which is based here in Uganda. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Latima. I want to go to, John, please, before I go to Honorable, please.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to add two brief comments on the issue of labor protection from the tax angle. In Uganda, we have a tax called pay as you earn. Pay as you earn is a progressive tax that exempts the lowest earners and increases progressively for the high earners. So for anybody in Uganda who earns 235,000 Uganda shillings per month going downwards, no payment of tax. Now if you earn slightly higher, you pay 10%, I think up to about 335. If you earn up to 410, you pay 20%, up to 10 million, 30%, above 10 million, 40%. So in a way, that is to make sure that you only consider those who earn the least. But also a brief comment on the green economy, which Musime asked. Uganda has just passed a new law that exempts, effective 1st July, exempts import duties from all electric and hybrid cars. This is to promote the environment and promote use of effective energy. So if you want to bring a duty-free car to Uganda, please bring an electric one. You'll have it duty-free. But also, there is a ban on old cars. So any vehicle above 15 years, please don't bring it to Uganda because it's contraband, it will not be allowed. But if the car is above 9 years, there is an environmental levy, and this is 100%. So you can bring an old vehicle 10 years, but be ready to pay an environmental levy over 100% of the value of that car. These are some of the tax initiatives to promote the green environment. Thank you.
Just to complement what has been said about the green economy, I want to confirm that under my stewardship, the Paris Agreement was enacted into a domestic law in 2021, and it's in force. It's under the sector of the Ministry of Water and Environment. Regulations are being prepared. A week ago, within Cabinet, we discussed the issue of carbon credits. So all these are being developed. Concerning the infrastructure, the buildings, they are under the charge of the Ministry of Housing, but they equally enjoy to observe the green economy. So we are of course, totally open to us. Thank you.
On that note, I read, more questions, okay. Let me take them first. I'm going to borrow 5 more minutes because I was told that time, but we really need to get to hear the voice of the guest.
Thank you very much. My name is David Nsubuga from Promote Uganda. Honorable Minister of Gender, I'm glad that you are mentioning the externalization of the nursing services in Germany, but information is available that that service is highly demanded in this country, in Canada, and in the US. In addition, of course, to nurses, there is also a high demand for electricians. I know, for instance, in US, and carpenters. Maybe you can throw some light on what your plans are. And of course, the other question is, aren't we running a risk as a country of actually externalizing most of the skills that we need, particularly the nurses? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. One more question. The last one I'm taking.
Hi, Ray Wilburn, East African Solutions. It's just a very quick one. I was hearing about the removal of import duty on electric vehicles. I guess maybe it doesn't quite make sense now because there's a lack of charging stations, but I guess that's a business opportunity for people sitting here possibly. I was wondering, does that extend to bodas as well? Because you've got just across the border in Rwanda, pretty much all of the bodas now are electric. So I was wondering if that extends to bodas, because again, that's possibly another big business opportunity for someone.
I will actually be selfish and answer that one. Yes, it does, and we have a mobility task force being actually led by the President's office, and we're doing a lot in terms of the conversion, which is why the opportunity for charging stations. Uganda has 5 million border borders, which need to be converted. So being I'm here, anybody who wants to invest, I can be the first one. You can find me somewhere, and then I won't be really, I'll just give them a commission. On that note, I want to really just ask if any of my panelists have any last words to say before we kick off the conversation of investing.
Can I answer his question on the externalization of labor?
Yes, please.
Yes, for the case of Canada and the UK, for nurses and other labor issues, we are having a meeting tomorrow with some key stakeholders in the context of nurses. We are open to any other opportunities for labor externalization. And like I indicated earlier, the young population of Uganda, educated with degree, with all kinds of qualification, are over 4 million. In the context of nurses, we have both government and private training schools that have a pool of nurses that can be externalized. It is the doctors that we have a policy of not externalizing doctors. But for nurses, because we have a lot of the training institution, both private, we have an opening for externalization, and we are going to have that discussion. We have opened up discussion with Canada. We've also opened up discussion with the US, and they are partnering with us and starting to have training and capacity building. So we will be open to anybody who wants to have a partnership, because I know there are companies that also would want to partner, and they have employment opportunities here. If you're there, please reach out to us, and we'll be through our embassy or when we are here, and give us your contacts. But tomorrow I will be having a meeting with a team of stakeholders who are interested in externalizing labor here. Thank you.
Thank you. Minister, if I can carry your bags to that meeting, I'll be interested.
I know why you will be interested. I will get you.
Thank you.
To escort me tomorrow.
Please, thank you so much. I'm here to do business. I'm not sure I may have already started. Okay, let me ask my panelists to have a last few words, and then we can close the session.
Thank you very much. On the green economy, I just wanted to add that the pilot city for the first electricity charging terminal will be Jinja City. So Jinja is the place to go for that very soon. So you can really focus on that. Then I also wanted to inform you about the parish development model, where we expect a lot of production from the communities. So we shall also have value addition facilities in the parishes. So that's another area where you can invest. We have over thousands of parishes in Uganda. So you can choose where to invest depending on the productivity of what items in that area. That's another area that could help us to generate employment and other opportunities. But welcome to Uganda.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tege. I think you helped me mention the borders. That was an oversight. They are covered just like motor vehicles. There's a discussion ongoing now about the inputs, because there are people who bring in raw materials for making electric components, like the electric batteries, as well as the charging stations. Not yet covered under the law, but before government for consideration, because the idea is to promote the green environment. Parting shots from me, I'd like to, first of all, appreciate the organizers of this great conference that brings together investors and citizens who want to invest in Uganda. I think this is the most appropriate time for this move, because the economy is growing, the inflation is well managed, it's very low, and the tax incentives. I think Uganda has one of the most generous tax incentives to attract investment. And for the last maybe 20 years, the foreign direct investment flowing into the country has been significant, between about $250 to $300 million. So I think there is a great opportunity for the UK companies that are known for quality, for standards, to come and invest in Uganda. There are very many investors coming, not necessarily from the UK. People even that have challenges with communication and language barriers are coming because they have identified the opportunity and they've embraced it. From the side of tax administration, we are available to support you and to help you understand and take advantage of the tax incentives, because the focus of revenue collection is on indirect taxes, not direct taxes, but indirect. So come and create jobs, produce products, then the country will collect taxes from those areas. For further information, please reach out on our website and all the contacts given so that you can get more information. And I'm also available up to the end of the day for any direct discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, our dear listeners. Mine is to really emphasize that Uganda is the way to go for your investment plans. You will not regret it. But also to use this opportunity to give you our lines in case you are in the country and you feel that you are not being handled in the right way. We have a hotline plus 256 414 259 675. I repeat that.
We will actually put it on the screens during the course of the day.
Okay,
Yes.
That's it. And you can follow us on our social media handle at IGG Uganda. And the email, I'm told it will be displayed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I want us to please give a hand clap for our panelists. We don't take it lightly that you come and give us your time. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'd like to hand over to...
Well, thank you very much. We've sat down for quite some time, so maybe on the green motorbike border, I will ask you to just move around, network. We're having a coffee break for about 20 minutes, then we'll come back to our discussion. We'll be looking at some of the challenges and opportunities for delivering major infrastructure projects. We'll be having time with our legislators and, of course, question time as well. So for the next 20 minutes, network, have a coffee break, and we'll be back. Thank you. Can we now invite respectfully the Country Director, Department for Business and Trade, British High Commission, Mr. Louis Arinatwe. I think I got it right. Please give him a round of applause as he comes to take his seat here. Then we'll have Director Logan OTT, Gary Cowley. Jerry, please come and take your seat up here for us. The Director and LDNL Project Director, Andrew Bamaya, please come and take up your position up here for us. Then I have Lars Peter Jensen, Area Manager, Colas Limited. Lars Peter Jensen, please come take your position up here for us. In this segment, we're going to have, first of all, a presentation. And we're going to look at, or the speaker will be outlining the UK export growth strategy, FDI in Uganda, and fostering long-term investment and economic growth. There will be a brief overview of guidance, assistance, and services to help British businesses grow and sell to Uganda, East Africa, and the whole of Africa as well. Definitely, there will be the advantages and disadvantages and hurdles of entering new markets. So let's have a clear and open mind, because that presentation is really going to help us. So with that, I will introduce my first speaker for this segment. And as I mentioned, he's the Country Director, Department for Business and Trade, British High Commission in Uganda, Mr. Louis Arinatwe. Uncle Louis.
Is it still morning? Yes, hello to everybody, all protocol observed. Thank you very much for the previous panelists for opening up the session and giving us background on the Ugandan environment for investment. As my colleague said, my name is Louis Arineitwe, and I am a Ugandan. I am the country director for the Department for Business and Trade, based at the British High Commission in Kampala, in Uganda. My role as the country director based in Uganda, that means I work for the British government. I am a civil servant employed by the British government, but a Ugandan. So I wear two hats, and that is to support investment and trade from the UK into Uganda. But as a Ugandan, I also have to ensure that it's the right investment for the country, it is the right opportunities, and it is for the best of the country. So briefly, my colleagues will introduce themselves. These are some of the British companies, that we have supported to enter the Ugandan market. And we do this in various ways. I could just talk through my presentation if this is not working, which is fine. Yes, okay. Hello, yes, so briefly, just a quick outline of who we are, what we do at the Department for Business and Trade, our mission and role in supporting UK companies to come and invest in Uganda, focusing on high-value campaigns and support to British companies. And then we shall have questions in case anybody has some questions and clarity. So at the Department for Business and Trade, in Africa, Uganda is one of 21 markets out of 153 markets countrywide. So in Africa, we are based in 21 countries, in all East African countries, except Burundi. And so we have an East African-wide network under the department, and we work with our colleagues across to support identification of opportunities across the East African region. We have been focusing on a number of key areas. We identify with priorities for the government of Uganda as well as private sector in Uganda. And currently, major areas of focus, without leaving out the rest, we've been supporting especially agriculture and agriculture technology, infrastructure development, renewable energy, and health and education space. We also have a lot of interests and close sight on professional and financial services. We've had about discussions on labor and labor externalization, and we are also working with various sectors, government agencies and private sector, to identify opportunities in those areas and support British investment into the market in Uganda. Some of the success stories, I have my colleagues here. Jerry will talk about the Lagan Industrial Park, the Kampala Industrial and Business Park, that is being constructed by Lagan Group, with support from the UK Export Finance and the British government. We have also supported the solar power irrigation scheme with a UK company called Nexus Green. And we have also supported through Lagan, through Colas, with which Lars will speak about, is an development of Kabalega International Airport. And we also work with private sector, where we have supported and worked together to link a UK-based agricultural technology exporter with a local Ugandan investor to set up agriculture processing, storage, and high-value equipment in the country. How do we support UK companies? We identify business opportunities in Uganda through both government and private sector, and work through our networks to identify the right UK partners to come and invest in Uganda. We organize business development visits and trade missions in various sectors to identify opportunities for both private and public sector. And we do this across the region, not just in Uganda. We also work to build strong networks with private sector in Uganda. We recently had an engagement with the private sector-led companies in Uganda and also private sector British companies that are operating in Uganda to work together, link them together, form partnerships and joint ventures to identify the right opportunities for investment. We also have a wide network for Department of Business and Trade across the Africa continent and across in the UK, where we work together to link businesses, identify regional opportunities, and we also follow up on identification of market access barriers. That these are what we identify as some challenges in doing business, where we work with the government of Uganda, private sector. The previous panelists talked about, one of the panelists was from John, Uganda Revenue Authority, where the British government is working together with URA to support, provide training, provide the right, and make sure that the URA is very well trained and very ready to ensure that they provide the right environment for investors to come and invest in Uganda. So that is just in a nutshell what we do as a Department for Business and Trade. We are very keen to support UK private and government investment into Uganda. And we are very happy to help. And we will be looking forward to engagement with both UK private sector companies and also Ugandan businesses to make sure that we promote investment into the country of Uganda. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Jerry Cawley and I'm a director with Lagan Group. And I just want to take the opportunity to congratulate Willy and his team for putting together this conference after quite a challenging conference last year, where because of the news at the time, everything had to be suspended. So it's nice to see everyone back again. And it's nice to see that it's still a success and that there is still a huge interest in Uganda. I'd also like to thank the delegates for bringing the Ugandan weather here to London, because we have had quite a miserable summer. So we've gone from being miserable to all baking alive. So it's a change. Lagan, as a company, looked around to expand its investment opportunities a number of years ago. And we looked at the East African area, and after some reviews, decided that given the stable environment that was there in Uganda, its prioritized projects, and its friendly and working environment, we took the view that this was somewhere we wanted to get involved in. So we've been involved with Uganda since about 2015. A lot of hard work in the earlier years, understanding the country, understanding the culture, understanding what were the priorities and how would we go about it. And invaluable to that was my colleague here, Andrew Bamanya, who will talk after me, as a regional director, who as a local Ugandan and living in Kampala, helped us find our way through all the various intricacies of the government, etc., to secure a project. And secure a project we did. In 2020, we started the Kampala Industrial Estate. It's a 2,200 acre site to the west of Kampala. You'll be familiar with it. It's an existing brownfield site, i.e. when we started, there was probably 50% occupancy of the site. And it was a working environment that we were asked to engage, go in and improve the infrastructure. And that improvement meant improving the roads, improving water and sewerage, in building a sewage treatment plant, a waste transfer station, a small business enterprise park, telecommunications, and also ensuring that we delivered a high quality state-of-the-art place that would market Kampala to the world. It is a project that has not been without its challenges. We were lucky in that with the support of the UKAF, we could bring some funding to the project. and that made it attractive because we could offer design, build, and finance. So for the government of Uganda, that was a very attractive offering. And at the time, interest rates were very good, so we could secure a very low interest rate that made it even more attractive. The project, as I say, has been ongoing for some time, and we are actually working through it at the moment, and it's beginning to come to a close. There's a bit of time to go yet, because, to be honest, it did have its challenges. Working in a live park with a lot of investors worried about any works being carried out affecting their business is difficult. We also had areas where we had to look after the locals who had settled in various plots and had to be compensated and retrained so that they didn't lose their livelihood. And so we had quite a complex livelihood restoration plan that dealt with those project-affected peoples. And that's been very successful. They have been there's been monetary compensation, there's been financial training, and there's also been employment with our company as well. The park, as we develop it and continue to develop it, gets more active. The usership of it has moved from 50% at the moment to probably about 70 to 80%. And that continues to grow as we open more areas of the park and as we make it more acceptable that businessmen use the opportunity to start their business. And in one of the presentations that I had, but unfortunately we haven't had time to get it moving, we did a snapshot of the growth of businesses over the last number of years since we started. And it has been about 30% of the overall project. Another key feature that has been very important to us when we're developing this park is ensuring that the social and environmental needs are addressed. The park is 2,200 acres, as I say. It borders the Lake Victoria. It's got an element of the National Forestry element of it as well. The River Namamve runs right through it. So it is actually quite a sensitive area as far as the environment is concerned. And the funders were especially concerned that all these issues were addressed. So before we even started the project, we had to do a detailed environmental, social, and environmental impact analysis. And that took 9 months before we stopped, which covered everything. It covered flora, fauna, aquatic life, and indeed, it covered the social issues as well as the health, as well as HIV awareness, and all those issues at relocation of people that had to be addressed. The vein of my life was a small snail that was about 1 inch, and that was last seen on the shores of Lake Victoria in 1951. One recorded instance of a snail, but there was a concern that it was out there somewhere along the shores of the River Namamve. We did a lot of searching. To date, we haven't found him, but maybe someday he'll come back. So we're progressing, and it's going well. It's great to see the park being utilised. We believe by the end of our activities, it will be a home to 200,000 to 250,000 jobs for the locals, and it hopefully will be a model for parks throughout Uganda, because I believe UIA are very keen to roll out these parks and see them utilised across Uganda. So that's a very quick run through the issues. I'm sure if there's any questions, we'll try and deal with them. If I could, before I pass, can I also just quickly thank our partners, DOT. It's a combination of international Lagan and local partners, DOT Services Limited. And it's a partnership that has worked very well, because again, they bring the local knowledge about dealing with all the issues of permitting, supplies, materials, etc. And we hopefully bring along the international experience to allow them to grow and expand within their own country. But it's been a very successful partnership, and we're delighted to be hitched with DOT, and long may it continue. So I'll hand over to Andrew now, who may have some further comments.
Good afternoon, everyone. Andrew Bomanya, as my colleague has mentioned. I am the Regional Director for Lagan Group Limited, but also double as the Project Director for the Lagan Dot Namamve Limited. Just like he has ended, we've partnered with our local company called Dot Services, and the synergies between the two companies are seeing through the success construction of the Kampala Industrial Business Park. He has taken you through in general terms. I don't see any gaps left, apart from if you have any questions, I'll be glad to take those on. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Lars Jensen, and I'm not working for Lagan. I'm working for Colas, and of course in Uganda, the name for tarmac road is a Colas road. So we've been around for a long time, and this time around we came in 2015 and identified a project that we decided to develop in collaboration with the Minister of Works and Transport in Uganda. And this was the construction of a second international airport in Hoima. And it started off being the Kabale International Airport. Then it became the Hoima International Airport. And recently it was named the Kabalega International Airport, which I think is, given that it's funded from substantially from the UK, is quite a paradox, because knowing the history of how the Kabalega fared, he spent many of his years fighting the British until he was eventually captured and sent into exile in the Seychelles, where he spent the last 20 years of his life before being allowed back. And he died reaching Jinja just before reaching home at Hoima. So it's quite interesting that the airport was named after him, which I think is very appropriate. We have been building the airport since 2018. It's a massive project. It's an international airport, 3.5 kilometers of runway. Fully international capability to handle large aircraft, the largest aircraft you can think about. The project is going to be completed hopefully this year. We have some discussion with the government still about some items that we consider would be required to make it a fully functional airport, like a power supply and water supply. but we are discussing with Minister of Finance at the moment. So hopefully by the end of this year there will be a fully functional airport at near Hoima, and this has been a very important project for Uganda and for the region as well. Jerry here talked about environmental and social issues. Of course, on the airport project, we have been from day one very aware of environmental and social issues. Our workforce has been 99% Ugandan, so my good friend Honourable Amonge here, she should be very, very pleased with us. We have never had more than about 1% expatriate workforce, so we're very proud of that. And of that, about 30% have been from the Hoima district, so we have excellent relations with the kingdom also. So as that project is coming to a close, we are looking at other projects, and for several years now, we've been working with KCCA on a project to rehabilitate roads in Kampala. Now, all of you who are familiar with Kampala know that as soon as you hit Kampala, you hit a pothole, and some of the potholes can be very severe and cause damage to yourself and your car. So we have been developing this project with KCCA, and we are hoping that this will also be funded from the UK, substantially funded from the UK, Export Finance. And Louis here has been very supportive in setting up meetings and making sure we have the engagements we need. So those are that's the latest project that we are working on. But I've been in Uganda now for over 7 years. I'm building a small house for myself there, and I am locally engaged to a very beautiful Muganda. So I plan to stay, and hopefully we can get this new project underway. Thank you.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. And you know what? When you get to Africa, especially the eastern part of the continent, you wouldn't want to go back from where you came. Because the weather is good, lovely people, most importantly the food. And when the environment is created for very conducive and rewarding investment, definitely 7 years is even short. You'll have to stay a lot more than that. Shall we please put our hands together for them? But just before we round up, I have, maybe Louis, you allow me, I have a question. What were some of the things that really attracted you to stay? And if I may ask, what really challenged you that probably made you think that, I want to go away?
What attracted me to stay was definitely the business environment is very accommodating. It's very flexible. It's very easy to live in Uganda. And you arrive at the passport control, and I've traveled a lot around Africa, but whenever you reach the Entebbe passport control, they always look at me with a smile and say, you're most welcome back, sir. And that is a big difference. Other countries in Africa, they take your passport and tell you, you see that queue down there, 100 meters, you go and stand there, and then we'll call you when your visa is ready. But in Kampala and Uganda, everything is very friendly. There are, of course, challenges, and of course, you know, Uganda is a poor country, and corruption is still a challenge that we are facing on many levels, and it takes time to develop projects, because as a UK company we go strictly by the book, and I'm very happy that today there was a presentation from the IGG, and we fully support the initiatives, and things take time, and we are sure we'll get there eventually, and by the time we get there, we will be very proud that we have done things the right way. gentleman over there.
The capital of Uganda, Kampala is a city of over 4 million inhabitants with a high population density. The city has more than 2,000 kilometers of roads, but only 20% of these roads are paved and only 5% are in good condition. The high traffic volume and poor condition of the city's infrastructure leads to numerous traffic jams and indirectly to numerous economic losses. Every day, 240,000 working hours are lost by the city's active population. It has become essential to consider a vast project to rehabilitate roads and build bridges and access roads to improve the flow of traffic. COLAS, in partnership with local contractors, is proposing a major project to transform the city of Kampala.
The project will transform Kampala by opening up the city through improved access, reduced congestion, and the roads will have proper sidewalks, drainage, streetlights, and in some cases special lanes for buses and bicycles.
As a pioneer in the field of transport infrastructure, COLAS has been building on its expertise and know-how for over 100 years. Our mission? To imagine and build innovative and responsible mobility solutions. This vast transformation project involves the rehabilitation of 200 kilometers of roads in 5 districts of the city: Central, Kawempe, Rubaga, Makindye, Nakawa, with the paving of approximately 800,000 tons of asphalt, including 100,000 cubic meters of recycled materials, the construction of a steel flyover at the Rosebery Junction, 3 pedestrian bridges, as well as the implementation of infrastructure for intelligent traffic management. Finally, the project includes the maintenance of these infrastructures, as well as the repair of the city's drains, the creation of pedestrian and cycle paths, and the planting of trees, for a total amount of €250 million. Attractive finance for the entire project will be provided through the UK Export Finance. This project is in line with our global CSR approach, ACT, based on 8 commitments, and the benefits for the local population are multiple. Between 450 and 550 locally recruited employees will benefit from training in line with our safety, quality, and operational management requirements.
And we expect more than 95% of our staff to be Ugandans.
Our group is also working to promote diversity and gender balance within our teams. Sustainable development and respect for the environment are also among our major commitments. Here, the use of innovative products, such as cold mix, is favoured to reduce our carbon footprint, and the recycling of materials is used as soon as possible in the production of new and replacement materials, both infrastructure and asphalt. Finally, this transformation project is accompanied by the renovation or creation of facilities to improve the living conditions of the population.
We expect the project to start end of this year if all goes well.
Our ambition for Kampala? A major transformation project to promote the economic development of the city and improve the living conditions of the population in a sustainable and responsible manner.
Well, thank you very much. Anything to add? Maybe I'll take a couple of questions. Then Honorable says, can I please use it? Thank you.
My name is Elias Mugisha. I have 2 questions. One going to Peter Laz and one going to Dot and Lagan. Laz, I would like you to speak about the loss to GDP because of the productivity and delays in traffic. I know you've done a feasibility study, so I would like you to give us a picture of how much we're losing to GDP because of the poor roads. Secondly, I would like you to discuss on the Kabale Airport. I am aware that the designs have been done, owned by the employer. I would like to give us some of the challenges that you've gone through where the advantages of a turnkey project and where the employer owns the designs. What are the challenges? Because I've had a number of complaints about where the employer owns the designs and where the contractor owns his own designs. Secondly, I would like to ask a question on Lagan. You formed a JV with a local contractor. What are the advantages? It's been a successful JV. Kindly give us some of your advantages that you've been able to pull up this.
Okay, I said a couple of questions. Obviously, he's asked 3, so I'll take one more.
Thank you so much. My name is Martin Muzali, a member of Parliament in Parliament of Uganda. Basically, I want to commend the gentleman working with the UK trade for the many investments actually that we currently have in Uganda. As you can see, there is a Lagan Dot that is handling the industrial park in Namanve. There is Kabale Airport. But that's not enough. We still have so many challenges in our country. There are so many other areas where we need investors, and I'm happy for this kind of engagement that we are here basically to talk to the investors and to tell them that back home, the environment is very conducive, everything is okay. We've got institutions where you can have everything. We have UNBS, we have URSB, that is for registration of companies. UNBS is basically to approve your product. So therefore, and UIA, the Uganda Investment Authority, which basically gives you all that is there in terms of investment. Because we are giving out to what we would call investment packages that are good, tax holidays, incentives per se. We are giving out land to investors free. We are giving out tax holidays to investors. We are giving out tax holidays. So everything is good. Please, we just want to say, come home. There are a few challenges, as the investor has said it. Corruption is one of the challenges we still have, but we are managing it because we've come up with so many institutions basically to tackle this. So come and invest in Uganda. I thank you.
Well, just to announce that later on in the afternoon, we'll be having time with our legislators, and some of these things will be looked at, and your questions will be answered. Shall we... I'll be asking that we do the answers together. So quickly, let me find, yes, Your Honourable Sir, the last one.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thanks a lot for your remarks. I just had one question. Rwanda ranks 38 in the ease of doing business rankings, while Uganda is 116. What could Uganda do better?
I think Peter has just mentioned, and I think I must add my comment on it on King Kabalega, because I've studied the King Kabalega, and my classmate was King Solomon Iguru, who is the current king. But I know that Sir Tito Mini, the son of King Kabalega, he used to visit my father in Masindi at least once a year. So I have those links with the kings, and I must say that Uganda is a great country. Unfortunately, we had to leave, and our children are not prepared to go back because they support the local football team. For example, my son supports Leicester City, and he says, "Oh no, I don't want to settle in Africa." But we love the country, and it's a great country to invest. And I hope that many investors come to Uganda. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Shall we have some answers? There were a few questions on the floor. Talking about the GDP and the traffic situation. If you could pick that one up first.
Hello.
Yes, thank you for that question on the Kampala roads project. Now, why does it make sense to invest money in fixing the roads in Kampala? There are a number of reasons for that, and you may be aware of some of the reasons, and others perhaps might surprise you. But 65% about of Uganda's GDP is generated in Kampala. 65%. The road network of Kampala is around 2,100 kilometers. Now that is only about 1.5% of Uganda's road network. Yet that 1.5% of Uganda's road network carry over 60% of the vehicles in Uganda. So you see the huge disparity. And for years, I'm sorry to say, funding for maintenance and upgrading of roads in Kampala has been very, very lacking behind. So the poor roads in Kampala, only 20% of the roads in Kampala are in reasonable condition. That means that the cost of doing business in Kampala is disproportionately much higher than it ought to be for a capital city in Africa. So the delays, just the delays of sitting in endless traffic jams, and as the person putting the question alluded to, we have done the feasibility report now, and it is being reviewed by Minister of Finance. So every day it is estimated that 3 million man-hours, productive man-hours, are wasted in traffic in Kampala. Now, if you run a business out of some of the suburbs around Kampala, you will find it more and more difficult to run any kind of errands into and out of the city. Just a trip from Mukono to Kampala can take easily 2 hours. So if you have a delivery to make, you can only make one delivery a day. So it has been estimated both by the World Bank and other studies, and also KCCA themselves, that about 7% of Uganda's GDP is lost, which is equivalent to about $3 or $4 billion a year, is lost due to the poor roads in Kampala. So fixing roads in Kampala has a multiplier impact on the GDP of Uganda. So that's why this project ticks all the right boxes, and this project, I'm hoping that we can make this project happen in the near future. I don't know if I answered that question.
Yes, I'm Andrew once again. Whereas I'm the regional director for Lagan, a British firm, I'm also a Ugandan who is in charge of the region. That is East Africa at large and Africa in terms of the markets. But as a Ugandan, the companies, the joint venture, two companies, Lagan Group and Dot Services. So the synergies of the two companies have actually been the story behind the success of the joint venture. The local player, who is Dot Services, has helped us understand the laws of the region, the culture on the ground, the local market in terms of potential, and the local stakeholders' engagements. On the international scene, Lagan has highly participated, and on that part I will let Jerry compliment on that.
Yeah, I think as Andrew was saying, having a local partner is essential when you're entering a new market, because we all can work our way through the systems, but having an understanding of the systems over the years, which Dot had, makes that easier. And also understanding the local market. And it also came to the fore when we were enveloped in that strange time that was COVID, when everything seemed to shut down, and yet we wanted to continue. But it meant from our side, we had limited travel. In fact, I took a very strange journey to Uganda in the middle of COVID, and it really wasn't a apocalyptic world, because there was no one on the plane, very few on the airport, and I suddenly thought, have I dropped into a wormhole somewhere and gone somewhere else? So having a local partner there who could increase resources and continue to the project in difficult times was really a godsend and essential. From our point of view, and what Dot get from us, is we have carried out projects around the globe. Lagan has worked on more or less every corner of the globe, from the Caribbean to South America to the Pacific Islands to Hong Kong Airport. And so we have a grasp of how to deliver big projects, how to deliver them well, and how to ensure that the quality, health and safety issues, and the social and environmental issues are dealt with. And sometimes, and it's not belittling the local company, because a lot of companies are very, very well established, and I have to applaud Uganda for its higher standards across the country. We bring that extra dimension. Plus, we have that access to funding, which again helps secure projects, to be able to bring cheap funding to the country and enable the project to be progressed. So it's a nice marriage, a nice mix. Like every marriage, there's a few arguments now and again, but you get over them, and we continue on, and we will continue till the success of the project and in future projects as well. But before I leave this, and before we lose time to say it, I want to just say a couple of thanks to a number of people. The Evelyn Anite, the Minister for Finance, has been very, very supportive and very, very helpful in helping us to get through all these difficult challenges in the early days. UIA, with Robert, has been instrumental in helping us as well as all his team and his team on the ground who we interact every day. But more importantly, the people of Uganda yourself, because as Lars says, everywhere we go, we've had a friendly face. We have people that are willing to help us resolve the problems when we raise them. They may not be instant resolutions, but they're willing to go away, think, engage with us, and resolve the problems. And I think that's very, very important from an investor point of view, to know that he has the confidence that he's been listened to, and when he asks for something to be done, he or she, that it is looked at seriously and acted upon. So I congratulate the people of Uganda as well for making an open and welcoming environment.
Thank you very much. Just a little bit of highlight on some of the challenges in terms of doing business and what Uganda is doing to improve the business environment and make it easier and easier to invest and trade with Uganda. One of the major things that I know the government of Uganda will support also from the British government is to reduce the cost of doing business. And this is reducing the cost of energy, reducing the time spent in doing business, and that is the cost of transportation, and also the cost of raw materials, and making it easy for investors to come and invest with the Uganda Investment Authority, Uganda Revenue Authority, who are here, Uganda Registration Services Bureau, and all these are agencies that are currently being put under one roof to be able to ensure that when an investor walks into one door, he can be able to get registration, licensing, taxation registration, and all the necessary investment licenses that one would require. Improvement of efficiency, yes, I mentioned that, and also corruption, which has been a challenge. But I know we have a representative from the IGG's office. We also have some legislators here who are ensuring that the right laws are put in place and the right enforcement. We at the British High Commission, Department for Business and Trade, we are happy and pleased to continue to engage. I've had engagement with a number of British potential investors who have met here. I've met others also in Kampala. There is a lot of interest in investing and trading with Uganda. We are looking forward to continue to support you. It takes time, like Lars said. However, this is also to ensure that the right projects, the right financing, the right products, the right quality are all put in place to ensure that we get the best out of the business relationship between the United Kingdom and the government of Uganda and also private sector. Thank you very much.
Okay, can I just say one more thing? This is the man here. Now, British High Commission have been very instrumental for both Lars and ourselves.
Brian Kaboyo is my name, Mayor Hoima City. And indeed, I had the MD Housing Finance talk about opportunities. Hoima City is one of the fastest growing cities in Uganda, which is hosting the Albertine activities in the Albertine Graben. I want to encourage people interested in investing. As a city, we are ready to support, and all activities in the Albertine Graben in oil and gas. The Hoima City is the host, is the transaction city, so please take opportunity and come in the city. Anytime we are there to encourage and support you, whatever you need. As the mayor and the team in the city, we are ready to support. Thank you so much. And Housing Finance recently opened up a branch in Hoima City, and I was part of the team during the opening. Thank you, MD, for the work. Thank you so much.
By the way, I need to, before you leave, Honorable, call us if they're still here. They're building, coming up with an industrial park in Hoima that will be focusing on the petroleum products. So you need to exchange numbers and see how to make this happen.
I want to appreciate callers because I've visited them. They are community encouraging, they work with the community, they support, they employ our people. I've visited time and again, and I've looked at their structure. Indeed, our people are playing a role in their company, and I want to appreciate them.
Uganda is home to the warm Ugandan people, a beautiful landscape, and vast wildlife species. It is known today for having the most cherished natural resources, oil and gas in Hoima district. Unfortunately, many of the people remain poor due to limited access to education, healthcare, clean water, and entrepreneurship skills. The Ugandan government has implemented numerous programs to bring these services closer to the people, but it cannot do this alone. We are SBC, a joint project between SBI International Uganda and Colas UK, and we are here to develop Hoima International Airport and turn it into a vibrant and thriving hub for international trade, tourism, and business. But we are not here just to make an airport. We are here to make a difference. This is because we are now part and parcel of the Ugandan community, and as such, we believe we must contribute to make a better life for our neighbors and friends. That is the Ugandan way. We make an impact by reaching out with a helping hand in many areas like education, health, sports, and improving the livelihoods and environment of these communities.
Most of the workers, about 60%, they reside in our area. That one has improved on business around the area. People are enjoying, we are getting tenants from the workers of SBC. So that one has improved on our income generating activities. We are getting rent, we are getting food, they are buying food from us. That one has improved on our financial status in the area compared to as it was in a long time ago.
The future is children, and the future is technology. We at SBC want to make sure that the children of our community are fully up to date with the technology needs of the modern world.
SBC has cleaned for us a good room for learning computer. We have many computers and we are able to learn a lot.
To ensure that they are learning in a clean environment, we renovated their classrooms and toilets. Sports is an invaluable asset when it comes to bringing communities together, and that is why we love to play. SBC fosters the spirit of sports here in Hoima. SBC has facilitated schools and communities with kits and equipment for their netball and football teams. Look out for the next Ugandan champion. They might come from here.
By virtue of what we do here, we happen to be offering services to vulnerable children, those who have been abandoned, those who have lost their parents at birth. Most especially, SBC has come in to show their support toward what we are doing by making several contributions. They painted our pavement, veranda, burglar, and 5 pillars, painting our 3 bathrooms, the laundry, the toilet, the laundry and bathroom doors. We replaced some 4 flush toilet systems. They helped us with the floor tiles in 4 toilets and 3 bathrooms. They helped us with the renovation of the toilet veranda, a merry-go-round children game structure, and some toilet brushes, name it. So we are very, very grateful. And those contributions have made an impact. Our children felt very happy that they are loved even by people outside there. And they feel good that they are as useful as other children who have their parents, who have people around them. May God richly bless SBC.
Looking after one another is a cornerstone of community building, and looking after one another means taking care of health. Communities have had challenges in the past with few doctors and poor access to health facilities, leaving the people in desperate need of medical attention. SBC now sustains a troop of doctors from Israel who work with the community in Chiboga to provide much-needed medical service and transfer of knowledge to the people free of charge. In Hoima, we have renovated medical facilities and donated ambulance services, beds, and beddings to the local hospital.
We had issues with the bed capacity, but following SBC's donations, it has improved on our bed capacity, and currently we can be able to accommodate quite a number of mothers in our postnatal, and also can be able to deliver at least 2 mothers at one time. Previously, a mother would get some complication in the course of delivery, and we would struggle so much to look out for transport to be able to shift this mother to the next higher level. But following SBC's entry into our community, we've been able to benefit from that ambulance, and we are so much happy and excited in that regard.
Water is life. Clean and safe drinking water is critical to sustaining healthy human life. We have built 13 boreholes with the goal that each village will have access to clean water for human beings, animal and agriculture in walking distance.
We used to have bad water. We used to use bad water like ponds and these valley dams. But since they came, they saw our problems. They got us some boreholes in our area. So on that aspect of health and sanitation, they got us some boreholes. So people now are enjoying good water from safe source of water. So that one has changed the life and the rest of people around the area.
We are committed.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young.